This is a podcast by the News Minute, and you are listening to South Central.
Hello and welcome to South Central, a TNM podcast where we put South at the center. I am Dhanya Rajendran. South Central, a new episode of it drops every Friday. We are on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, YouTube and other platforms. So do follow us on all these platforms. And remember that we follow a very simple pattern. We first discuss a few of the important headlines from southern India. Then we deep dive into two topics. In this episode, we look at whether Vijay can become a formidable political entity in Tamil Nadu. And then at the Air India crash report, is it a mischievous attempt to clear Boeing and Air India? With me today is co-host Leena Raghunath, investigative journalist and lawyer.
Hi, Dhanya.
Okay, and not in the studio with me is my colleague Pooja Prasanna. Pooja is actually in Dharmasthala, which is a town in Karnataka. Last week, her Let Me Explain show had been about these shocking allegations made by a person who claims that he was a sanitation worker at the Dharmasthala Manjunatha temple and that he had buried almost 100 bodies of women, of girls, some of whom he believed were sexually assaulted. So after Pooja did that episode, we got a lot of feedback from people, which is why this week she's there on ground with Shivani Kawa. The next episode will be on what are people in Dharmasthala saying, what are the police going to do, what is a whistleblower talking about, and more. But I just want to say that today morning, I woke up to a takedown notice which is sent by YouTube saying that Pooja's Let Me Explain will be taken down by YouTube because the people from Dharmasthala have emailed them saying that there is an injunction order in the past which was taken and therefore this video too cannot be on YouTube anymore. This injunction order was taken a few months ago in a very different matter, but the injunction order said that no defamatory content can be published against the Manjunatha temple or its Dharmadhikari Virendra Hegde. But the injunction order did not say that we cannot report on facts, we cannot report on an FIR, on a police complaint. So we will fight this out as we fight every single case, legal notice which is against us. But I want to tell you all that nothing of that sort is possible if you also do not extend your help. All of us can keep complaining about the media that is not doing the story, but we are a media house which is doing the story and we do need your help. So do become a subscriber or you can support South Central, you can support Let Me Explain. All the links are in the descriptions below. Open your purses, your wallets, whatever, or even your phone scan because this really, really matters to us. And don't forget to watch the first episode of Let Me Explain which came last week and the next one which will come this week because we will tell you the story of Dharmasthala. Okay, so joining us from the Chennai studio is our Tamil Nadu Bureau Chief Shabbir Ahamed. Shabbir, welcome to South Central.
Hi Dhanya. Hi Leena.
Along with Shabbir is a senior journalist from Tamil Nadu. You may have read her bylines across many, many publications, Kavitha Muralidharan.
Hi, Dhanya. Hi, Leena.
Okay, so first, Leena, we will quickly go to the headlines.
Yes. The first headline is from Kerala. Indian nurse Nimisha Priya's death sentence in Yemen postponed. Yemeni government has postponed the execution on July 15th, a day before the execution was scheduled. So this has resulted from constant efforts of the Save Nimisha Priya Council and community leaders including Kantapuram AP Abubakar Musliar, who got intervention of the Yemeni spiritual leader Habib Umar bin Hafiz, has negotiated for this. Dhanya, you must have more details on this.
Yeah, I think it has become very murky after the postponement. So basically, community leaders and the Action Council were all working simultaneously and there was some relief because the execution has been postponed. But let's remember that the execution has not been stayed. They have not commuted her sentence. They've merely postponed it. But what's happened the last 24 hours is astounding. So apparently Yemeni people are very, very angry at the kind of coverage by the Indian media because the Yemeni people are saying that the man who was killed by Nimisha has been completely villainized by the Indian media. And in fact, his brother, this Talal Mehdi who was murdered, his brother has come on Facebook and he has written that no matter what happens, we will ensure that the execution takes place. And a lot of Facebook comments. So, Yemeni people are very active on Facebook. Unfortunately, so are Malayalis. So a lot of Facebook posts are being translated into Arabic, etc., and read by these people. There's one particular person who's apparently gone on Yemeni Facebook groups. A Malayali man has gone on Yemeni Facebook groups and written comments saying that, oh, this guy deserves it. So they're very, very angry. I just listened to Congress leader Chandi Umman making a request that please don't write provocative things on social media because the people there, especially the tribal groups, are getting very provoked by this.
Hope the council's efforts see justice for Nimisha Priya. And moving on to the next story from Tamil Nadu. Stunt performer death, Par Ranjit and others charged with causing death by negligence. Stunt artist S. Mohan Raju died in a car accident on July 13th while filming an action sequence on the sets of Par Ranjit's Vettuvam in Nagapattinam district. I think most of us has seen the video of the stunt by now, where an SUV driven by Mohan Raju was taking off from a ramp at a high speed, and then the car is in the air for 10-20 meters, spinning twice and making a hard landing on its side. Director Ranjit, stunt choreographer Vinod, Nelam Productions manager Rajkamal, and the car's owner has been booked and charged with causing death by negligence. Par Ranjit in his statement said that the scene was meticulously planned with clear safety measures. An unfortunate incident.
Do you have anything to add, Kavitha or Shabbir? Because I was actually watching the visual and thinking that, are we still doing these with humans? Because I thought maybe there's some technology used for a lot of these scenes, right?
No, in most of the cases, I think it's the stunt masters who want these scenes to be recorded. Because, at the end of the day, for a film, there is a stunt master. So they are very much into this. But in this case, like Ranjit has said, there were safety measures, safety precautions, because these are all not, normal cars. These are all specially designed cars with some kind of safety mechanism that is there in place. But this incident is absolutely shocking, and it has raised several questions, because this is not the first time a stunt master is being, is killed in a shoot like this. There have been instances in the past, but what has happened is initial information in this case was he died of heart attack. But later, when the video came out, that's when several questions raised. That's when the police realized, okay, something terribly wrong has happened, and after that there was an FIR in this incident.
The next headline is from Telangana. Telangana BJP chief sends legal notice to Deputy CM over allegations. And Ramchandra Rao has sent legal notice to Deputy CM Bhatti over allegations made linking the BJP leader to the suicide of the Hyderabad University research scholar Rohit Vemula. He has asked the Deputy CM to tender unconditional apology within 3 days, failing which he will initiate a defamation case worth 25 crores. From Karnataka, 2 lecturers from Muda Bidiri College and friend arrested for raping student. Physics lecturer at a college in Dakshin Kannada district, Narendra, first assaults the student, and then other 2, a biology lecturer Sandeep and his friend Anup, who learned about this first assault, also sexually assaults the woman. From Karnataka, we have a win for the Devanahalli farmers as Karnataka government drops land acquisition. Over 3 years after they began protesting the acquisition of their land in 13 villages, state government has announced that it will drop the acquisition of the 1,777 acres of land. CM Siddaramaiah said that this is a unique struggle and it would not be wrong to call it a historic struggle. The government discussed the pros and cons and came to a decision. I think a huge relief for those villagers who were protesting this.
Yeah, so immediately Nara Lokesh, who's the IT minister of Andhra Pradesh, tweeted saying that, oh, you have lost an opportunity, industries, aerospace industry, etc. You come to Andhra Pradesh, we will give you land. And guess who responds to that? Tejasvi Surya, the Bengaluru South MP, says this is how leadership should be. This is how you should invite industries. I think he was questioned a lot that do you have people's interest above industry interest or vice versa? And the tweet has magically disappeared now.
Hindi is back in news. Chandrababu Naidu defending learning Hindi. Pawan Kalyan, Nara Lokesh call Hindi the national language. This is amid a fresh wave of in Maharashtra. Naidu defended learning Hindi, recalling that former PM Narasimha Rao had mastered 17 languages, including Hindi. So that's how it's going now. With Andhra Pradesh Deputy CM Pawan Kalyan and the Minister Nara Lokesh have both once again supported the union government's proposed policy to teach Hindi language in schools across India.
Did Pawan Kalyan actually say Hindi is a national language?
Yeah, he
Do
said
we
in-
have that bite? If we have that bite, then probably it is going to spoil the BJP's plans on AIDMK's plans in Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu, yeah.
Because they are going to use Pawan Kalyan big time.
Yes. And
For the elections.
But not only Pawan Kalyan called it Rashtra Bhasha. Nara Lokesh also said it's a national language. And Preeti Chaudhary, who was doing the interview in India Today, said, but no, it's not a national language. She actually corrected him. I think the bottom line is Pawan Kalyan, for example, when he had a leftist avatar, he said that Hindi shouldn't be imposed on people. And now they are completely okay with... they are saying that it's a link language, that English is not the link language, only link language, but it should be Hindi also. Yeah, like Shabbir was pointing out, it can, if the DMK and others want to use it, this is very usable for the Tamil Nadu election, this template, right? Because in Andhra Pradesh, they are for Hindi now.
With that, it's a wrap of the headlines, Dhanya.
Okay, thank you for that, Leena. Leena was, of course, filling in for Pooja, who's a normal headline reader. Hopefully, she'll be back next week. Our first discussion is something to do with Tamil Nadu and its elections in 2026. We are going to discuss about the entrance of actor Vijay into politics. We've actually done that once before in South Central, but I thought we have to do that again because Vijay is making very strong pitches, or at least that's what it seems on the outside. But what exactly is happening in Tamil Nadu? Is he able to make in-grounds, or is he just being an actor who's sort of dipping his feet into politics but not going the extra mile and becoming a full-time politician? So, Shabbir and Kavitha, you guys can keep alternating between yourself. I don't have to ask questions each time. But I was watching this, this Manadu that he had recently, and also this event where he had 18 families whose family members died in custodial, in police custody, whether it's in jail or in the police station. And of course, that made a lot of noise. But one thing I was thinking is that except for these one or two public appearances, right, which itself I think is pretty low for someone who aspires to be the chief minister of a state, is Vijay still reluctant? Like, why are we not seeing him yet go into the streets or talk to people? No, I'm not saying just walk into the streets, but just be a more daily politician, hold more events, go to villages, go to towns. We're not seeing all that. Why?
okay. So basically, I think it's not just about people. He's not even meeting the media also, which is one way of communicating to the people. He's not, I don't think he's had one press meet also. No, till now he's not met. It's been more than 1 year, almost 1.5 years since he launched his party. For almost first few months, the party was inactive. It was only on paper. And only then he announced his first conference, and today he's announced his second conference. So I think he is very ambitious. It's very clear. And when I was watching his old interviews, when he was very active in cinema, when he was like on the top, he was saying he was not sure about politics. He didn't say I will not come. He says, I don't know. So which means he was toying with the idea of coming to the politics. But whether he's prepared for the heat of the politics, that I'm not sure, because he comes across as a very reluctant politician. And when I say reluctant politician, I'm not saying he says he doesn't want to become politician, but maybe he doesn't want to do the field work that every politician in a state like Tamil Nadu is expected to do.
See, I believe that, Vijay has a plan. Okay, so he is going by his plans. His strategy team has chalked out a plan for himself. When I was talking to them, I was asking the same question. So we want to see Vijay in the nook and corner of Tamil Nadu. We want to see Vijay as a daily politician. We want to see him holding meetings, gatherings and all that. But they say the biggest problem that they face is bringing him out to a public event. It takes a lot of planning. It takes, a lot of issues for them, safety issues, both for the, party workers as well as for Vijay. So there, I was there at the protest that happened in Chennai where that was Vijay's first protest that was held in Chennai. So, I was there at the protest site by 8 o'clock. Because the guys who were organizing the protest, they are telling me that, the protest is at 10:30, but you have to be there at 8 o'clock. Otherwise, you will get blocked because there will be too much of crowd and you simply cannot get into that crowd and make your way to the protest. So you please be there by 8 o'clock. And the entire media was there by 8 o'clock. So we literally had to fight with the organizers to get a space for the media. Otherwise, we'll be part of the crowd. And the crowd is insane. The crowd is absolutely insane. So they never expected that, tens and thousands of people will arrive for the protest. In fact, they knew. So they had to actually make a space for the crowd to ensure that they don't reach Vijay, because they are all climbing on top of the trees, on top of the, scaling all the walls that are there to catch a glimpse of Vijay. And on the other side, there is actually an escape route.
But Shabbir, how is this a valid excuse? For example, we have seen someone like Chiranjeevi. No, let me finish. We have seen someone like Chiranjeevi come into politics. Pawan Kalyan gets mad crowds in Andhra Pradesh. I mean, really huge crowds. And his crowd level has increased over the years. When I went to cover last election also, I saw huge crowds. So it's not like Vijay did not know when he was coming into politics that crowds will obviously follow him. Can that be an excuse for him not conducting events? Now, that sounds foolish, right?
No, that cannot be an excuse. But still, I think he has to get used to the fact that he has to be there among the crowds. He has to, attend all these events, programs and all that. So I think his team says that they have a clear strategy. They don't want to hold any roadshows unnecessarily, because getting permission is also a problem.
Yeah.
They are not getting permissions for any kind of rallies, any kind of events. If they are holding events, they can't hold small events because the crowd will be too much. So at every stage, there seems to be some kind of hiccups. But I think starting September, he will be doing road shows.
Yeah.
So that is what his teams are planning. So from September onwards, he'll be touring across the state. I don't know if he's going to do zone by zone, or is he going to, crisscross the state like how the DMK had planned their 2021 programs.
No, now let's look at sort of what Vijay is offering on the table, right? So from his speeches till now, and I think in the beginning they had that one thing about their ideologies, what their party will follow. It sort of seems like a combination of Dravidian left politics and also social justice. It combines Ambedkarism, Periyarism, Marxism, and left-leaning Dravidian values. So, Kavitha, do you think there will be a fatigue? The voter now, those voters who perhaps will wean away from the DMK are also looking for a different kind of politics. But it's the same kind of politics, just that an actor is presenting it to you. What is a new thought which Vijay is able to bring?
I'm actually not sure if Vijay is serious about what he says. But I also think Vijay doesn't bring anything meaningful to the table as a politician. I don't think he is going to make a difference. Like Shabbir was just mentioning how fans, I don't know if I should call them cadres, because there were fans who were trying to catch glimpse of Vijay, trying to, get on the top of the trees or scaling the walls. Whether they will actually, be voting for Vijay, or whether, they are there for Vijay, not for those who had lost their, the loved ones to custodial torture, or for TVK. They are there for Vijay. So that itself leaves me confused. Even if you say that Vijay is kind of offering a Dravidian left politics to his cadres, to people of Tamil Nadu, has he really kind of passed the message on to the people? That I'm not sure. He's not done that clearly. So that's not happening. 2 is still seen as an actor. I mean, he's still acting in his last film, where incidentally he's acting as, I just read today that he's acting as a police officer. So he's still, his larger than life image comes from a screen presence. So that can also be, so a lot of people who are following him, follow him because he's an actor, not because he's a politician or he's offering something different. And I'm not sure if he'll actually offer anything different, seeing the kind of films that he's done in the past.
Shabbir?
See, it's a combination of both, right? Like Vijay has come from the Dravidian school of thought. That's what I feel. Because when he says that his plank is also going to be social justice, but little differently, he is going to present it to the people, and that's how he has presented it also. Because he says that he is not going to accept everything that Periyar said. He is going to take things that Periyar has said, but clearly not, what is that, like,
Belief.
Kadol Marupukku.
Belief, atheism.
So he has said that I'll not, follow what Periyar had said with regard to atheism. But apart from that, my ideologies are the same. And I think Vijay's, if Vijay wants to become successful politician in Tamil Nadu, he has to, carry forward the legacy of the state, the Dravidian politics of the state, because that is something that the people relate to. Now you cannot come up with a new plan or a new idea or a new ideology, right? That becomes very difficult. For example, Rajinikanth came up with an ideology saying it is going to be spiritual politics.
Yeah.
Now, what is spiritual politics? Nobody knows. And Rajini said something, people understood something, and then it was all lost in the transition. And the second thing was Kamal Hassan came up with something called centrism. He said Maya Arasyal. Now, nobody understands what Maya Arasyal is. Kamal Hassan has become a Rajya Sabha MP, and he is part of the DMK alliance now. So Vijay is very clear that he is going to come up with the same formula that the Dravidian parties have adopted, particularly the formula that MGR has adopted. He is going to come up with that, and his silver screen presence is going to help him in a big way. It is already helping him. Like the only thing that I couldn't, I am not satisfied is whether his party workers are politicized, whether they have the political knowledge, whether they understand politics better, whether they can, judge what kind of politics that Vijay is doing or Vijay is not doing, and they can go by that. That is something that remains to be seen, because Vijay has huge challenges. He doesn't need to spend any money to bring in crowds like other political parties. The crowds will automatically come. All he has to do is politicize his entire fan base and the party workers. So that is a process. That is a big process, because as a fan club, there is already a structure. So Vijay's fan club had around 8.5 lakh functionaries across the state at different levels. So it was already functioning like a party. It was already like a political party.
Shabbir, if I can just interrupt here 1 minute. As Kavitha was saying, they are primarily fans, right? They may not become a political follower, because politically they may be with the DMK, IDMK, whatever it is. Kavitha?
Oh, yeah, political parties, the structure of a political party is completely different from a fan club one. Though there are many actors, I agree, Vijay is trying to kind of claim MGR's legacy, but whether he'll be successful in doing it, I have my own doubts, because except for MGR, nobody from on-screen in Tamil Nadu has made it to politics. And we know, even Jayalalitha, I would say not because of her on-screen, presence or charisma. Jayalalitha's success, she owed it to MGR's legacy and to her control over the party. That was it, not because of her on-screen presence. So after that, we've seen many actors who've tried to do that, but we've not been able to do it, even including MGR. Including Rajinikanth, I'm sorry. So Rajinikanth he was toying with the idea of coming into the politics, but ultimately he withdrew. So, and MGR was completely different. MGR's legacy is completely different. He started in 1950s. He didn't decide one day that I'll start a political party, and he didn't start ADMK. He started in 1950s as a DMK cadre, and he worked his way up. So when he actually split from the DMK and went away, a lot of DMK people went away with him. MGR already had a party structure in place when he started ADMK. It was not new. He was not building something new. So, and he had his own fan clubs, which were part of the DMK when he was in politics. So his, and his films, that's another important thing. I agree, Vijay has a huge silver screen presence, but what kind of message, and that's also worrying me, because what kind of message he was actually telling people, through his films. MGR at least was do-gooder. All his films, MGR showed only very positive. It was a very carefully cultivated image, what MGR had. But Vijay has done negative roles. And like Kanimodi pointed out recently, many of his films, at least two or three of his films, kind of justified custodial violence against people who are, villains, but still custodial violence is custodial violence. So that has happened in his films. I've seen films where he's where he's treated women very badly, spoken of them very badly. And I've personally been offended by one of his early films. So all these things are there. So if a fan says that I love Vijay for his acting, for what he does on screen, like I'm actually very afraid about what kind of values this person is going to take from Vijay as an actor. And when they try to kind of influence, kind of bring it to politics, what kind of future are we going to have in case Vijay succeeds? I actually don't see him succeeding, but because we don't have any precedent. Even Vijay Gant, who had really maybe not as much as MGR, but Vijay Gant really did his groundwork before he started his political party, and Vijay Gant couldn't last after an election. So I'm not sure if Vijay will.
Okay, that I don't think you have to. We can underestimate Vijay because for multiple reasons. One, he is undoubtedly the popular star. Today his position is number one in the film industry. See, Kavitha spoke about Rajnikant. Probably if Rajnikant had entered politics in 1996,
That was different.
when he had a running battle with J. Jayalalitha, he would have made it. By now, he would have, become the chief minister also. You never know. But at that time, Rajnikant developed cold feet at some point, and after that, he withdrew the idea of entering active politics. In fact, in 1996, he supported the DMK-TMC alliance.
Yeah. So 96 was completely different.
And helped, DMK gain a landslide victory in Tamil Nadu. So the actors all have some kind of relevance in Tamil Nadu. So just because that Vijay Kant...
No, I'll tell you, Shabbir. 96 was a moment. Only if Rajnikant had entered in 96, he would have succeeded because people were really angry about the ADMK government. But after that, in 2000 till 2018, he was toying with the idea of entering politics. Any other time, I don't think he would have succeeded. And that's why he withdrew. That's my understanding of the entire thing. 96 was one moment that Rajnikant, fortunately or unfortunately, let it go. I'm sure even 96, if he had taken the plunge, he would have by now become the chief minister for all we know.
See, Vijay has also entered politics at the right time. Probably he had his ideas to enter politics in 2021 is what I'm told. But at that time, I think he did not have a proper structure for his party. He did not have a proper, he did not have proper people with him who can help Vijay. So I think he dropped that idea then. And now he has taken this decision because there is a vacuum in Tamil Nadu, which is very visible because you don't have leaders like...
No, but when we say vacuum, okay, I guess you're going to say that we don't have leaders of stature of Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi. But how is Vijay anybody who can fill any vacuum? What is his stature to be filling that vacuum?
I'm saying he is coming now. He is going to work up his way. He is trying to position himself. Now, it's not like Vijay is going to, come and fight an election and then become a chief minister in 2026. He is actually going to project himself as a probable contender. And that's how he will build his politics. That's how he has to identify himself. If you are trying to say that Vijay is going to be an alternative, then in what other way he can project himself as an alternative? See, Vijay, if he had come up with any other ideology, probably by now people would have discounted him. The only reason why even the DMK or AIADMK is unable to discount him is because he is coming up with the same social justice plank. He is coming up with the same politics that DMK or AIADMK represents. So I think that is one of the reasons why they are unable to dismiss him, why they are unable to fight him. And now what Vijay is going to do, what kind of politics he is going to offer, that remains to be seen. And that is something now it's up to Vijay to prove himself. Now that he has started a political party, the political party is 2 years old, one conference after another conference every year, it doesn't work like that, right? You have to do day-to-day politics. Now, in an election year, he has to be even more aggressive. And now that he has taken up two important issues that are, that are completely ignored by mainstream political parties in Tamil Nadu, I would say. The principal opposition, AIADMK, has not even touched the Parandur issue, which is an environmental issue. People are protesting there for more than 1,000 days. It's Vijay who has taken up that issue. He has visited Parandur. The opposition party leader of Tamil Nadu hasn't visited Parandur. And the other issue is the issue of custodial death. Many political parties have spoken about custodial death, but when the incident happens, when the issue happens, they will issue a statement, they'll demand for an investigation, and after that, they'll move on. Now, Vijay has brought in all these 18 families together. He has offered them legal support. He has given them a platform, and he has directly challenged and questioned the chief minister. And And now he is going to do that. You have to give him some space to do that, is what I believe. And I think going forward, Vijay will also understand that how politics is done. Because I think it's a learning curve for him as well, I believe.
I don't think so. I don't think he has time to kind of, experiment with
the learning
politics
curve
as of today. And I also don't think there is
that's one thing that I have also on my mind, because looking at it, the place that Vijay has taken, the timing that Vijay has taken, the issues that Vijay has taken, we can see a lot of things going for him. Like, right now there is a leadership vacuum. There is BJP and AIDMK on one side and DMK, which sort of a lot of people are frustrated with the kinds of things that are going. And Vijay is offering an alternative, though it's not like new political idea that he's offering. At least it's a new, platform that he's offering for people who don't want to go to either sides, or who has a young crowd thinking in new ways. So that is going in his favor, and the star power too. But what we need to know is that if he needs to look for a successive story, then it's I think he has to look at the Pawan Kalyan story, right? Starting from 2008, when he's in the Chiranjeevi party and slowly understanding what politics is about, and then launching his own party. Then from early on, his tie-ups with Narendra Modi and BJP, and then him sitting out of elections, and then learning from losses in elections, and still being in the game, and then slowly building his party in a way where he can have a say to be the deputy CM of a state. So that kind of slow burn over, I think, close to 16 years in politics before you find real victory, right? Real power is that kind of slow burn. Does Vijay have it in him? Does he have the patience to see that kind of things? What does Shabbir and Kavitha think on that and you too?
I really don't. I don't agree that there is a vacuum in Tamil Nadu politics. I would rather say the era of personality politics has passed on. Now there are, like 20 years ago when I was covering election, it was not about strategists working out campaign schedules. It was about leaders meeting the people directly, interacting with them, or doing the I've been doing many campaign trails. So today it's completely different. There are strategists, companies, working out on schedules. It's about narrative, it's about perception. It's not, I don't think it's any longer about, leaders or personality. So that, I think that scenario has shifted or changed. That's one thing. And two, Vijay is, if there is one thing that he is clear about, he wants to become the chief minister. He doesn't want to try the Pawan Kalyan route. I think he's very ambitious, but whether that ambition will actually translate into reality, I have my own doubts.
So I think I stand somewhere in the middle. I don't think there is like Kavitha said, it's not a vacuum. Okay, if you're going to look at leaders like M. Karunanidhi and J. Jayalalitha, perhaps not of that stature, but I feel that the way political parties operate, it's not all personality based anymore, and there are multiple ways in which they operate. Now, let us say that vacuum is there. Like in some people's mind, that vacuum is there. I don't know if Vijay is a replacement for that vacuum. That is one thing. Yeah. And second, for example, I think we had a South Central in which Pooja was making fun of me because I used to be one of those people. No, I was making fun of Pooja because many years ago, I would say that one day will come when Pawan Kalyan will actually matter. Like he'll be part of the government. Everybody used to say no chance he will. But the point is people can call him a chameleon or whatever. He just drifted to whatever ideology he wanted, but that patience, right, in just biding your time and not just closing your party and going, which his brother Chiranjeevi did. I don't know if Vijay comes across as that kind of person because most actors in Tamil cinema are in one way full of themselves. So I don't know if Vijay would have the patience if he loses an election. Like let's say Shabbir 2026, he can't even make 10% vote. Do you think he would really continue with this political party structure?
Yeah, I think he will have to continue because from whatever I understand, I see, he is very motivated. That is very clear because from the start, he has been continuously, on to it. He has been doing things one by one. And I think it's all part of a strategy that his team devises and he's going by that. Now, like I said, there are two challenges. One is Vijay has to politicize his own fans, his party workers, which are relatively new, young, The second thing is, like you said, if he loses an election, what happens? He has to stay. So now, the stronger that Vijay projects himself, in the first election, then if he gets the desired number of votes, if he gets 10% or more than 10%, he is in the game. There is no doubt about it. See, Vijay in his first election got 8%. And after that, you cannot dismiss Vijay from Tamil Nadu politics. In fact, Vijay went on to say that he will not align with any of the Dravidian parties. But later, the Dravidian parties had to go to him. So if Vijay gets more than 10% or 15% or whatever the...
No, but Shabbir, I think that is where we also have to look at the difference between a Vijay and a Vijay Kant. A Vijay Kant's ambition would have been limited to being a part. I mean, I know I had interviewed Vijay Kant when he just started the political party. At that time, he thought of becoming the chief minister. But soon he kept aside that dream. He was okay being part of an alliance. But I don't think Vijay is that kind of person. He would not want to be the kingmaker. He will want to be the king.
I think I basically think Vijay is planning to go alone in this election because he wants to test his own strength. He wants to know what he can bring to the table. That's what is in his mind. And if he has the patience of Pawan Kalyan, if he can afford to lose one election or afford to kind of not and still hang there and fight, maybe after 2-3 elections he can kind of bring something to the table. But I don't think Vijay has that kind of patience. I don't know. I don't think he's actually made any statement about what his heroine, I forget her name, she actually said that Vijay, she asked Vijay whether he is putting an end to his cinema career, and he said no, it all depends on the election results. I think Vijay should have kind of, if he is serious about politics, he should have kind of said no, I didn't make such a statement. So these are the things that kind of make me even more doubtful about him. I think he's very ambitious. He is very motivated. It's very obvious. But whether failure will change all that, I certainly think if he loses this election, I don't think he'll contest the next one.
No, what if he wins?
I don't think he'll win.
Anything can happen in elections, Dhanya. Let's not discount.
No, I don't think anything big can happen in election that Vijay will win it, unless, of course, I don't know. I don't think that's a possibility for now.
Even if he wins 10 to 20 seats.
Okay, like that. Okay.
In an election, in a tightly contested elections, if Vijay wins 10 to 20 seats or maybe 25 seats or whatever it is, what happens then? See, basically,
even after that, he has to hang there. No, he has to kind of convince people that he'll be there forever. Fight. I mean, I agree. He has age on his side. He's not old like Kamala Hassan. He has age on his side. But whether he has the energy and the motivation to be on the field even after winning only 10 seats. I mean, I'm sure with 15 to 30% votes of surveys, he might be thinking somewhere around 100 seats for himself.
No, when Kavitha was talking, I was thinking about Kangana Ranaut and all the interviews that she's been doing lately, right? She is definitely tired of politics, it looks like. Hopefully, Vijay won't be that. My final question to you, I'll wrap it up with that. This whole thing of I will be standing alone, Kavitha, I know that you said perhaps he wants to test the waters to see how he will perform. But is that really tenable that he thinks that he can stand alone? Because we have seen that most of these parties tend to drift to either the AIDMK camp or the DMK camp.
No, I personally don't think it's tenable for him to stand alone. He can give a tough fight to the DMK and to the ADMK if he manages to bring some alliance partners from both the fronts. But I don't see that also happening. So I'm not sure if it's actually tenable for him to go it alone. But that's the only way he can actually measure his own strength, to see what he is capable of. I mean, I'm sure he and his party strategists believe that he's capable of huge things. He's capable of claiming MGR's legacy, which no other actor has been able to do. But he wants an election to know how much he can deliver.
See, as of now, the one good thing or one safe thing that Vijay can do is go it alone in this election, prove his vote bank, or try and ensure that he gets more than 15% or something. If he gets that, then probably he's there in the game, and it is going to be a huge thing for a new political party to break that frontier. Because all these political parties, new political parties, they have not crossed more than 10%.
Yeah.
So before coming for this episode, I was actually considering I haven't traveled in Tamil Nadu for some time now, which I will do during elections. I was watching this video on Pudhiya Thalamure where they got around 25 to 30 voices on the ground. And no surprises, not many women, but still, a lot of men talking about Vijay's entry into, Vijay in politics now. It's a recent video. A lot of those people pointed out what I started this episode with, right? That Vijay doesn't seem like a daily politician. Like, where is he? Why does he never come out? Why does he not talk? That's something which people are also thinking, that he's not a serious politician if he's going to do just once in a month he will come and talk somewhere. So people expect a politician to be more accessible. And if Vijay should learn from anyone, it is from KCR in Telangana. Even being a seasoned politician, being the chief minister of the state, one of the things which really worked against KCR in the last Telangana election was the fact that he was inaccessible. That he was not acting as a daily politician or even as a chief minister, that people did not know most of the time what he thought, what he was doing. So yes, thank you very much, Kavitha and Shabbir. Kavitha, I hope that Vijay fans will listen to all that you said.
I hope, yeah, I really hope they don't. I'm spared.
Yeah. I was just thinking when you were talking about his movies, and imagine the fun if his latest movie, he's a police officer who's giving some solid punches to people in custody.
Yeah. Imagine, yeah. He's done it in Pokeri. I've not seen Jilla, but in Pokeri, he's like actually hit and kill people as a cop.
I don't think he'll kill, but at least he'll definitely punch people, I feel. Yeah, let's see what the new movie is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A preliminary investigation report on the crash of Air India Flight 171 has become a huge controversy because there are many questions around what must have happened on that flight. The report had a few lines which have cast doubts on whether it was deliberate human action or not. The world of pilots seems to be divided. The world of media seems to be divided on what must have actually transpired on Flight 171. Joining us today to speak about this is Captain Sam Thomas. He's the president of the Airlines Pilot Associations of India. He's an aviation consultant. He has worked with Jet Airways for 19 years. He shuttles between Chennai and Bengaluru, and we could catch him and make him come to our Bengaluru studio. Thank you very much, Captain Sam Thomas, for joining us. Shabbir and Leena are, of course, there. So this report, when it came out, the first doubt was that the crash must have happened because of the way the fuel cutoff switches transition. That's the word that is used in the report, right? Tell me your first thoughts about the report itself, because it very oddly goes on to record just one line which was spoken in the cockpit between two pilots without actually noting which pilot said what. It says one pilot asked the other, why did he cut off? The other pilot said he did not do so.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. The first objection that we had, our objections are based on two lines basically. The first objection that we had is with the report itself. A, because it was clandestinely released in the middle of the night. No government agency works even during regular hours, leave alone at 1:30 in the morning. It was not signed by anybody. So it's just a piece of paper. 3, 2 days prior to it being released in India, it was released to the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal carried out a report. Now, in journalistic terms, I understand that could happen, but in air accident investigation, it never happens. So there's definitely a leak. 4 is, like you mentioned, the line, one single line of the CVR is released, and that is never done. 5, it gives a clean chit to Boeing, which no preliminary report gives any kind of clean chit to the OEM. So these are the reasons on which we contested primarily the report that is published by AAIB. The other objection that we had, which we were screaming from the top of our voices, were that do not speculate. Those who are not involved with this actively, do not say anything about it because it is misleading the media. The media's job is to ask questions. They will ask and they can speculate, no problem. Our problem is with pilots speculating. That causes a problem, and now we are at a situation where the complete Western media believes, I've been giving interviews to them, they very clearly say that it's not we who said that you have a pilot suicide. It is you who said it. It's your pilot who said it. So these are the two verticals under which we have the objection. If you want the report, we can discuss the report. If you want the speculation, we can discuss that.
No, I think we'll do a little bit of both. But to those listening and watching, so basically this report is prepared by the Indian government, the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. And of course, one of the opposition that you said is that the report was leaked. But as a journalist, what I can say is that reports are leaked all the time, right? And it depends. The question here is, why was it leaked to Wall Street Journal, or why did a Wall Street Journal journalist get access to it? I don't know, perhaps smarter journalist got it, or perhaps there was some deliberate attempt. Now that's again in the realm of speculation, right? But just to put it on record, all kinds of reports get leaked all the time to journalists. Now, there are a couple of things about this report itself. The report mentions that the FAA had issued a special airworthiness information bulletin about this fuel control button, right? Could you explain that a bit, as in what is the problem in the Dreamliner and other Boeing flights?
No, the information bulletin, first of all, an airworthiness directive. I'll try and keep all the technical words out.
Yes.
The maintenance orders that come from Boeing have a degree of severity to them. When they say airworthiness directive, it means it's very severe. You need to fix it within a specified time and get back to them to say that you've complied with this. Service bulletin, it has a bigger window wherein you can solve the problem. Information bulletin, good to know. If you feel like setting it right, please set it right. Otherwise, it's okay. Now, this is across. The service bulletin that you are, or rather the information bulletin that you are referring to, and which was a part of the report, is one of those with the least severity. It talks of all the airplanes of Boeing, right, from 737-300 onwards to the 787-9. So it says that we have a problem with the solenoid. There is a chance that this fuel control switches, which are very difficult to move from cutoff to run or run to cutoff, and there needs to be a deliberate action. Maybe there are times when it could slip. Okay, so then what happened? This accident happened, and Etihad started the inspections immediately on that, because as a matter of abundant caution.
That the locking mechanism may not sometimes work.
May not sometime work. But in my experience, I've never seen it fail. And if you feel that it is failing and you have issued a service bulletin or an information bulletin, then there is something to it. We by no means are saying that it happened in this particular crash. That is why we wanted complete information. The DFDR information, the cockpit voice recorder, the ATC transcript, eyewitness reports. Now, if you put all this together, you will be able to get to the bottom of it without any mistakes. Now, in the absence of any of these, and when you put one sentence out, it is mischievous. Okay, that is deliberately done, we believe, to misguide the public.
No, but Captain Thomas, my doubt is, okay, if you look at the part where the report says that the two pilots spoke to each other and this switch basically went up and down in a matter of seconds, then you can speculate it was deliberate human action, right? But the same report also talks about this FAA advisory, which says that this switch can move by itself if the locking mechanism is there.
Yes.
So the report actually throws up two theories,
yes,
right?
Yeah. Now, that is the whole part. You should not have put that part over there. And if you had put that part there, then put the full transcript of the CVR so that we are not confused about this. Now, the media is as confused as the pilots are. In fact, the pilots are even more confused. They end up confusing everybody else, because in India, we have this compulsion to speak on everything. I mean, I'm guilty of that. So is even my mother sometimes speaks on how Indian teams should improve their fielding in cricket. So that's there in our culture. So having said that, these sort of hodgepodge job that they have done with the report is causing more confusion and anguish. And in the center of that is an insinuation that says that
This is perhaps a suicide attempt.
yes, that is.
So before I come to Leena and Shabbir, who I'm sure are bursting with questions, I have two things to ask you. If you can explain to the listeners in very simple terms, what is this fuel cutoff switch? And you were telling me before we started the show that if there's an engine failure, then also they do cut off the fuel, right? So when is it normally cut off in a flight?
Okay, normally in a flight, when you park the airplane at the end of the flight in a bay onto the bay, then one by one you cut off the switches. That's how the engine comes to the off position. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. To start the engine, you have an ignition switch and you have the start fuel control switches. These are the most important switches as far as starting and shutting them off are concerned. You put them up, they start. To put it up, you need to pull it out. It's spring-loaded. You put it in the notch and leave it. It stays there. It will not fall down on its own under normal circumstance or under extreme circumstance. Why we are saying that it has not happened over here is even in the crashed airplane, with the photograph shows it's in the run position. So that kind of impact has not brought it down. So we'd like to rule out that part that there is a malfunction in the switch. Now, what we were telling you about cutting off these switches is if you have a dual engine failure, there is just one checklist. And the checklist has memory items. Memory items are something that you don't look at a book and do. You know, as soon as this has happened, this is what I'm going to do. That says fuel cutoff switches to cut off, because they are in the run right now as the airplane is flying, to cut off both and put them back to run and press the rat switch for 1 second. This is the checklist. And the checklist further continues on to if it happens, then what happens, and continue. So this is where the fuel control switches are coming into play. Now, there is a distinction between the fuel control switches and the fuel shut-off valves. The shut-off valves are an extension of the switches downline, which in conjunction with these switches, when I put them on, they open. And when I put them off, they close. Now, that's why we said the switches are binary, on and off. The valves transition. Transition A to B through A1B, A1, A2, A and to B at the intermediate positions. That's called a transition, not on and off. So
could they have made a mistake in this report between a valve and a switch?
Maybe.
Because they've used the word transition.
Maybe.
Okay, and my second doubt from what you're saying is that to simplify it more, you are saying that because after the crash, there's a picture which is published in the report which shows that fuel control switch is up, which is in the run position. So if the locking mechanism was not working, in that crash, there's a possibility it must have come down. So you are saying, which means the locking mechanism was working, which leaves us with, then the pilot must have moved the switches. If that is the case, you are saying that it is not a case of any suicide or deliberate act, but there could have been a dual engine failure, which is why the pilot was forced to switch off, right?
I'm saying it's a deliberate act. It better be a deliberate
act. As
act.
In, not for mischief.
Yes, not for mischief. Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And one more question before I go to Shabbir and Leena. You said in the beginning, in your remarks, that why was this released? Who are we trying to protect? There have been a lot of doubts cast on Boeing itself. We have had whistleblowers over the years talking about the lack of safety of those flights. So do you believe the way this report has been written could also be an attempt to perhaps shield Boeing?
Going by the history that the 737 MAX crashes, if you go by, you see that when the first Lion Air crash took place, they came and said, 100% pilot error. Then they found, Indian, 1000%. Then the crash happened in Ethiopia. The Ethiopians were very clever. They didn't send the black boxes anywhere out like we tried in India. They kept it with them. They decoded it in themselves. And with the help of certain outside help, Then it came to light that you have a system in the airplane which you did not tell anybody. And that system, when malfunctions, deliberately crashes the plane. The congressional hearing which followed severely castigated Boeing. But what happened in the end? You pay some fine and then you get away with it. And so going by that history, and it's their job. If I were to be Boeing, even I would have done the same thing. I would have gone there first and said
But we are talking about a government report here, Indian government's report. Okay, Shabbir, you have anything to say or ask?
See, I want to ask Captain, what is this report not saying? What is that you expect? If there is a report, it has to give answers, right? We don't know what exactly happened with the flight 171. Now, this report has, created more doubts in the minds of people. So what is this report not saying?
It's not saying anything. What we would have liked, ideal case scenario, 30 days to come out with this. But see, in order to avoid any kind of speculation, what you do is you call for a press conference immediately as it happens and say, listen, we've constituted a committee, so-and-so are the committee. They're going to investigate. Every Friday, we will give you a debrief on what has happened and what we have done so far. We are using these are the credentials of these experts. And thereafter, we'll periodically tell you what is happening and we will answer your questions to the best of our ability. On the 30th day, you publish something which says, this accident has happened. So many people have perished in this accident. We believe that these are the parameters that we are checking. Our line of thinking is going around A, B, and C. We will come back with the report to you in the interim after some time. Please do not speculate any further till we come back to you with this one. At this time, we are not clearing anybody of anything. All options remain open, including the sabotage, including everything. And every air crash de facto has the sabotage angle. It will be cleared by an expert who is either from NIA or some other investigative agency. So until that time, nobody should say anything. This is how preliminary reports come out. By putting in these extra little sentences and insinuating sort of accusatory tones and leaving it open to interpretation, that we believe is done mischievously, and that's our core objection.
Now, why do you call it mischievous? Because this is a report that has been drafted by the experts. The experts have looked into each and every aspect.
When you say experts, you'll have to go through the credentials of the experts as well. Now, an ex-Air Force engineer who has, they're constantly telling that he has sat in many court of inquiries. Now, have you seen a civilian airplane that also is so tech heavy? And if you feel that somebody who has, sat through court of inquiries, we really don't know what this court of inquiries is. They bandy it along very proudly. But having spoken to all the Air Force officers that I know, it's not something that you can be proud of. And so that is one of the reasons why we say that you have to have experts or subject matter experts from each realm. That's the engineering, the flying, the cabin crew. We tend to completely ignore them. The air traffic controllers, they also need to be on board. That's how you can have a comprehensive board and you will not make a mistake. Now, what have you got? People who don't want to say anything. No Indians are allowed. No journalists are allowed even near that Udan Bhavan. So, but Wall Street Journal, he's got it. So, because he's a very clever journalist, a smart journalist who has got that report much before even the official release. Dhanya is going to kill me.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Leena, you have something to ask?
No, I will completely second the Wall Street Journal getting the leak. It's because of whatever sources we place and how we all want our hands on as journalists on this report before it reaches anybody else. So they're in the game. But what I'm trying to understand here is that what this preliminary report has done, as you have explained to us, is that thrown open ground for more speculation, made space for all kind of theories to be floated, especially putting some of the blame on the indefensible, the people who are not alive anymore. And I'm trying to understand this, whether the big company here involved, who has the insurance case, who has to pay the compensation, is this report and a step towards helping them shield some of the blames, which is what we should be understanding at this point, or will the liability be fixed only after the larger report comes out, which I understand is a few months or at least a year away, that the full investigation would be completed and the liabilities or the causation and how this happened will be clearly explained? Will the proceedings wait till that for fixing insurance liabilities and for compensation and all of that, or does this preliminary report in some way influence?
The preliminary report of any air crash investigation is by no means even in the general direction of what they are thinking. The final report may be 180 degrees off what this report is. This report basically is to tell you that we are going in this direction, we have done this. 30 days is too less for us to do anything more. And please wait for the final report. But by adding sentences and there is a set template for this. And if I just followed the ICAO Annex 13 and go by those templates, they would have been safe.
But I just want to play the devil's advocate here. For example, most of the pilots who are appearing on all TV channels or anywhere, you're all saying that there is an attempt to blame the pilots for the error, right? And you're saying that the company, which could be either Air India, Boeing, whichever it is trying to absolve itself. But somebody can turn around and say that this could have been a pilot error, and all that the pilots are now trying to say is to absolve those pilots.
Sure. Now, this is not the first time that you have to go by either my record or my opponent, for argument's sake, my opponent's record. Now, the opponent's record is there in front of you and how they have been dealing with the system. Now, as far as pilots are concerned, as an association president, it's my job to defend the pilots, and not just defend the pilots. Find out if there has been an error, why has that error occurred, so that none of the other pilots make that error. Okay, it's not the first pilot error that is going to cause a crash. There have been several pilot errors that has contributed to crashes. Now, if that is the case, just show us the proof. Let it be conclusive. When you're blaming somebody who is now accused of murder-suicide, you better have some proof, and conclusive proof. That's what we are saying. If that is a pilot error, show us why it's a pilot error. If it's a machine error, show us what the machine error is. If it's an interface, man-machine interface, let's see what that is. Our idea is this should never happen again. So, therefore, we believe that the way this report is sort of written or dictated, it is mischievous. Once again, Shabbir, it is mischievous.
So joining us is also Captain Amit Singh. Captain Amit Singh is he's a founder of the Aviation Safety Matters. He's a fellow of the Royal Aeronautical Society of London. He has been associated with 2 airlines in India, Indigo and Air Asia. He was Chief of Safety, Director of Flight Operations, and Chief Pilot Training. Thank you, Captain Amit, for joining us.
Thank you for having me over.
So Captain Thomas, who I guess will also have to leave because he has another appointment, but if I can just drag you into the conversation very quickly, he was saying that this whole report is mischievous because it has just put out one line of the cockpit conversation and also thrown in one line about the FAA advisory, plus said that the fuel control switches went from off to on. So he's saying there's a deliberate attempt to not reveal anything much, but to create doubts and to perhaps put the blame entirely on the pilots. Do you also believe so?
Well, I do agree because there is a deliberate move not to present the facts. Right now, the objective of preliminary report is to present factual information. So, in the first 30 days, whatever you have, just collate it and then present it. You don't have to analyze anything. You don't have to give anybody a clean chit. You don't have to point fingers or blame. And there is no need to give your own analysis or interpretation or version. For example, those two lines had been, you very rightly said, mischievously placed in a manner, in a position that leads people or media or regulators to think that there is something connected with the fuel switches and the pilots. So had these two lines been somewhere else or in some other context, the whole meaning would have changed. Like, if we can say that who moved the fuel control switches? So was it a physical switch that moved, or was it an electrical signal which was recorded? So now people are connecting the movement of this switch. The indication is received by the flight radar recorder, FDR. And then next you place these two lines, which are not the transcript. They are basically the investigator who has heard on the CVR. So his version of the CVR. So he might have changed the context, the words here and there. So that is kind of a misrepresentation. That is something which is unethical for an investigator to do. Either you say something, deliver the facts, or do not deliver the facts. But here they're trying to introduce something which points towards a human factor issue and tries to give a clean chit to other things like technical issues. From the beginning, if you see, there was no attempt to corroborate facts or give out pertinent facts. Facts which are not pertinent and not needed at this stage were introduced. So that the ordinary reader obviously will not be able to comprehend these things. Like what is the purpose of giving, when did the ram air turbine start
Hydraulics.
pressurizing the hydraulic? So what is the intent? Either you want to give, you give what time did the rat deploy.
Correct.
So that is the important thing, which means the engines have failed before that.
Can you simplify this, Captain Thomas? Because the report says, as per the EAFR data, both engines' N2 values passed below minimum idle speed, and the RAT hydraulic pump began supplying hydraulic power at about 8:47 UTC.
Who asked him to give the, now that we have repeated verbatim whatever we had to say, so who asked him what time this hydraulic came? You tell us when the RAT deployed. That has key connotations. You see, there are three simple cases under which the RAT or ram air turbine will deploy automatically. 1, if both engines fail. 2, if there is a total hydraulic failure. 3, if there is a total electrical failure. Now, when there's an electrical failure, out of these 3, when there's a total electrical failure, the ram air deploys instantly. Okay, otherwise in the engine, it waits for N2 to go below 50% and then deploys and then starts supplying limited hydraulics and electrics to the aircraft. We are not interested why it supplied what time it supplied hydraulics. When did it deploy? That will tell you very quickly what the problem was. So these are the key factors that.
So to both of you, I have a quick question. I mean, this is not the first air crash in India itself. In the recent past, we have seen in Mangalore, we have seen in Karipur. Were those investigation reports also initially mischievous? Do you remember?
Incompetent, I would put it. Not, I won't put it. I'm sorry, Amit. I'm sorry, Amit. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I wouldn't put it as mischievous at that time because there were no external parties involved in this. Incompetent, 100%. In the Mangalore crash, again, I call this AAIB, a Rehabilitation Center for Air Force personnel. I have proof to say that this is what happens. The guy did not know how to draw Mangalore airport diagram. First diagram was wrong.
AAIB is the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau.
Correct. In the Mangalore crash, it was not even there during the Mangalore crash. Post that it came. Then the
Karipur
crash, they investigated. They gave a lot of, if you see that report, how come there were no fire engines or fire crash tenders there? in an air crash, it's a high impact occurrence. Passengers will have spinal injuries. So, who were doing the rescue? People on the road outside Karipur airports, this one. And they were being put in auto rickshaw, tempo traveler and all that and going. Where were the crash tenders? Where were the ambulances? Where is that airport director? So they gave some recommendations as well. At the end of a crash report, they give you some recommendation that this should be done. Have those recommendations been followed? So at the end of the day, one night prior to getting an investigator, they were searching all over jet airways. Hello, is there anybody who can do it? Can you do it, please? You go on. And that's how more malleable characters are there who will listen to you. They will be selected. So that, I think, has happened.
What is your opinion, Captain Amit?
See, an accident does not happen out of the blue, right? Aviation is such a safe environment. There's so many checks and balances, compliances. An accident is basically a testimony that the entire system has crumbled and that the error has passed through the hundreds of checks to reach the pilot who was overwhelmed at that time or whatever, could not handle, because pilot is the last barrier and the first person to reach the scene of accident. Right. So this has been happening for so long that it meets with an accident because things become lax. When nothing is happening, people say that, why are you worrying? Nothing is happening. Everything is safe. On the other hand, we have something called high reliability organizations, wherein we have high risk industries like nuclear and oil and gas. There, when things are quiet, the safety managers are more anxious that where is the next thing which is going to come from. They keep analyzing more and more data to try to predict that next accident could happen here, next fire could happen here. So they are more anxious. Here everybody sits quiet that why are you creating a ruckus? Everything is quiet, nothing is happening. So before an accident, there are always precursors. You will have Heilmrich triangle, which says that you have 1,000 small incidents, you have 300 serious incidents, then you have a major accident. So we have so many helicopter accidents, flight school accidents, then we have a big accident. Because the safety culture which has developed is such that it is we call it the pathological culture. That's the lowest one, in which you do not do anything until you're caught. So people are doing whatever they are until somebody catches them, and then they say, okay, we will do some corrective measure. Rather than a generative safety culture, which is the top, in which you say that I am responsible for my safety and safety of others. You do over and above what is required. We try to do the bare minimum to comply for the safety as per regulations. So we say we are compliant with safety regulations. Even for the flight duty time limitations, that is a limit set by the regulator. So you should have a buffer in between so that you never reach the limit. Even if there is a delay of a flight or whatever, you never reach that limit. But we operate till the limit, that the pilot can be utilized till the limit. You have to look at the whole thing, the bigger picture of where things are going. We have audits and audits every year. So why are things not picked up in the audits? Now, people say that Air India has been fined. So fine is not a deterrent for Air India. Because Air India has the capacity to pay 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs. They'll pay. It is not a deterrent. But if you reduce their flight schedule, that we will curtail your flight schedule by 15%, which they have done now. So that would impact Air India, and they will be more vigilant, and they'll take better steps to enhance safety. Otherwise, it's easy for them to pay and get away. It's like a murder and you pay for a murder. What happened with Boeing? They were pressed with criminal charges after the MAX accident, and they did an out-of-court settlement. When people died, so nobody got caught. They just paid money and got away. So in aircraft accident in India especially, I call it how to get away with murder, which is people die in an accident. The AIB report is kind of doctored. It blames the pilot. The police FIR is lodged. The police investigates. But the police takes the AIB report, which they are not supposed to do, because they don't have the capacity and capability of independent investigation. They take the AIB report and they say, oh, look, the probable cause is a pilot error. Since the pilot is not alive, case closed. So the criminal case is also closed. So they don't look at the criminality of the whole accident, that was there a sabotage, somebody manipulated things, or was there a deliberate action. So all those aspects are not looked into. A lot of accident reports, nobody reads them. I read a lot of accident reports. In India, they contradict each other. In the same report, it will contradict. Like this preliminary report, the whole timeline doesn't match. So whoever has made this has not gone through it clearly. If your aircraft has got airborne at 3.9 and they say after 4.2 you reach, the aircraft reached maximum 180 knots, then the fuel switches were operated. At 4.7, it says your hydraulic power started generating. So now if you work backwards, it takes about 5 seconds for the between your RAD deployment and hydraulic power, right? So from 4.7, you work backwards 5 seconds. It takes 2 seconds for the RAD to deploy, 7 seconds. And then there is either electrical failure, 1 second or 2 seconds for this. So you have 7 to 8 minutes. So you come back to 3.9, work backwards, which is the time aircraft was getting airborne. So that is the point where something happened, not later on. And why I'm saying this is because the next best credible evidence is the flight radar data. That is the ADSB data. And research has said that that data can be used in general aviation where they do not have FDRs and all. So that data is reliable enough to be used. For that day, for that aircraft, the data says the aircraft attained 180 knots maximum, which is the same as a preliminary report. Preliminary report does not give a height, but flight radar gives the height of 21 feet, which is just about the ground. After that, you'll see a gradual decline in the speed immediately because something happened there. That is why the landing gear was not taken up, or because there was a distraction in the cockpit. Normally, first action is to take the landing gear. But since there was a distraction, gear was left down. So something happened in that critical point, and the CVR has not been, the transcript has not been given for that. What was the communication or discussion, conversation between the pilots? What were the ICAS messages, the warnings, the whalers coming in? So that is the critical piece of evidence which has not been presented.
So, Captain Amit, a lot of people ask us when we go for events, etc., saying, how do we understand what is correct news, what is fake news, what is misinformation, who's a media to believe, etc. So, what I think now after this accident is that there is a considerable fear, right? But air travel is not something that you can avoid. So, people have to opt for airplanes. I don't know if it's a good question or it's a dumb question, but still I will ask at the risk of this. That as a flyer, as someone who uses an airplane, is there something that people can be mindful of? I'm sure that a lot of people are now skeptical of flying Boeing and Dreamliners, right? So is there something that people should keep in mind also?
So what people need to do is demand for answers, because there is no public forum or association for the passengers. If a passenger has a query, wants to resolve some issue, be it technical, non-technical, there is no body. There is no passenger body. I'll take a small example like passenger ticket refunds. So till COVID, what was happening is if a flight gets cancelled or something, the passengers used to get a credit note and to buy a ticket later on the same airline. But the DGCA regulation says that if there's a cancellation, the passenger will be given an option that you want cash or you want a credit note. But the airlines were not presenting them that option. They were straight away giving them credit note. So there is a regulation there, but people don't know about it. So there has to be a body which basically connects all of them. That the passengers should know their rights and should also know their responsibilities. Because we see so many passenger-related issues, that what are the etiquettes of travel and how do you behave when you're traveling. So it has to be both ways. Education of the traveling public. If you want everybody to travel from the remotest part, then you have to educate people that this is what is acceptable, not acceptable. These are your rights and these are your responsibilities. So when you're becoming a third largest aviation market in the world, then these things have to begin. Our problem is that we don't have institutions which produce high quality professionals. We are still dependent on foreign agencies and bodies. Pilot training, 60% of it happens abroad, and initial training also abroad. All their high quality, like aircraft accident investigation, that doesn't happen. Training doesn't happen in India because we don't have those institutions. We have to go abroad to UK to do these trainings. So everything is there. And we are not developing. In the last 20 years, we haven't developed one institution. So in the future, the foundation is so big. That is why it collapses. The moment you put pressure on it, it collapses. The moment you have fog, it collapses. We are resilient as individuals, that we come back, bounce back. But then again, next year, the same thing repeats. So the system is fragile.
Yeah. No, Indian resilience is the most abused word, perhaps, saying spirit of Bombay, spirit of India, etc. And I just want to add that Railways does have quite a few very active passengers associations, which do come up with a lot of demands, oppositions, etc. So thank you very much.
Railway safety is under the Civil Aviation Ministry. So to make it independent, they moved it out of Railways. But the aircraft investigation is still an office of the Ministry of Civil Aviation. That is written in the Act. That is to prevent any kind of pressure or something coming in. Control. So that is the kind of independence. But AAIB is under Ministry of Civil Aviation. It is an office of the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So it cannot be an autonomous body, because their promotion, their appointment, everything is dependent on the Civil Aviation Ministry.
Yeah, so as I was saying, that Railways does have a lot of passenger associations which makes demands. So perhaps it is time for passengers to think about how we can make air travel more accountable to us. Thank you very much, Captain Amit, for joining us. But before you sign off, do give us a recommendation, something that you would want people to read, watch, listen to.
Well, they can read my book. I've just written a book called Mindfly: Follies, Realities and Human Factors. So that basically tells even a layman, a passenger, that the basic tussle between the mind and the brain. So I have tried to give examples of certain accidents which have happened, how the pilots reacted, and it is set in the Indian cultural context, wherein the mind and mindfulness and breathing, all these things are given importance. Gurukul is given importance in India, the way we train. So if India has it all, and we have the best of the capability, people, everything, it is just that we are looking always towards West. We have to look internally, and we have the strength to do it all. So that is a good read that every aviator and even a non-aviator should read. That is my self-promotion.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a book recommendation, Dhanya. It's, I think it's quite a popular book, but it's Swadeshi's Team by A.R. Venkatachalapati. Swadeshi's Team, V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, and Battle Against British Maritime Empire. So I think Chalapati has worked for 40 years on this book. It's an amazing kind of biography of V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, who started a shipping company to fight the British, and it was started in 1906. So at that time it was amazing. Also, we kind of understand, most of us kind of understand Indian freedom struggle like an elephant in the room. You know, we speak of Gandhi, we speak of Bhagat Singh, and some speak of Savarkar and all, but there are many leaders who've contributed in a big and small ways to this. And I think V.O. Chidambaram Pillai wanted to kind of financially oppose the British, and he had this audacious imagination of starting a shipping company. I mean, in a few years, it was liquidated, and he was in jail. But it's still, I think it's a brilliant book, and his was a brilliant life.
Okay, my recommendation would be to watch In Public Interest, which is a new show on the News Minute, because I have not promoted In Public Interest on South Central. So please do watch. This week we are coming up with a story on the Kadalur train accident in which 3 school-going children were killed. What was shocking in that entire incident was the railways coming up with a press release where they blame the van driver and the district collector, saying they did not give permission for the underpass. So the district collector is responsible for the incident. And the van driver insisted that the gatekeeper should open the gates. So we have actually got some details about the investigation and what happened next. It was very clear the fault was on the side of Indian Railways, and they were pointing fingers at everyone else. And this issue is not about one accident in Kadalur. It shows how safety is being compromised in Indian Railways and how they take safety for granted is the story. So please do watch, and please do support In Public Interest and the News Minute, and also support all our shows, including in the KLV, and contribute to our reporting fund. Thank you.
Okay, the absence of Pooja has been fulfilled by Shabbir with that really long CTA. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we come to an end. It was a long episode, so I won't be able to read letters, but I will keep those for the next episode. Leena, what is your recommendation for the week?
My recommendation this week is in line with what we just discussed here. Well, some of my famous investigation journal long forms to read is on air crashes and aircrafts that go missing. I read a lot of Jeff Wise reporting on it, and I wanted to recommend his New York Magazine piece called How Crazy Am I to Think I Actually Know Where That Malaysia Airlines Plane Is. It's a long form. There is also a Atlantic piece that I want to recommend back from 2019, what really happened to Malaysia's missing airplane. This is theories and air passenger safeties and how big businesses flout certain safety mechanisms, and also the theories of pilot suicide, everything examined in these stories. So I hope you find that interesting read.
Okay, so my recommendation is actually, it's not the series called The Hunt, which is on Sony Live. I realize there is a series called The Hunt, which is on the Rajiv Gandhi assassination, because a lot of people were watching an old interview of mine in which I interviewed Nalini Sriharan, one of the assassins of Rajiv Gandhi. After she was released, I had gone to Vellore to interview her. So people, of course, are coming and abusing on that video, which is when I was thinking, why, what happened, what is renewed interest? And I found out that there is a series called The Hunt. Now, my recommendation is not The Hunt, but these are books by journalist M.R. Narayanaswamy. If you're interested in the LTT and its movement, these are easy books to read. I don't know if you can still find the editions, but if somebody has it, you should try to read. The first book is called Inside an Elusive Mind. Then he has written more called A Tiger Vanquished and The Route of Prabhakaran. But very academic books, easy to read. Do try to read those. So we come to an end of this episode of South Central. Thank you to producer Bhuvan Malik. Thank you to production assistant Ajay. Thank you to Sukanya Shaji, who's listening in, Jasim Ali, our editor, and Yana, who does all our social media. But remember what I told you in the beginning of the episode, Pooja and Shivani Kava are in Dharamstala. We are bringing a lot of reports of what is happening there. Do read those reports and spread love, spread cheer, spread South Central, send the links to everyone you know, spam them. Thank you.